friends, welcome to Net Chemistry. Today I am going to take only repeated questions. I am keep on browsing in the question paper and I am finding some questions are repeatedly asking. So that question only I am taking. That why I am taking all these repeated questions. This will increase your chances to qualify the exam. Okay, so I am not wasting your time. Come, let us start. Okay, first I am telling about shifts in electronic spectroscopy. Electronic spectroscopy is nothing but a UV visible spectra, right? That range only electronic spectroscopy is giving you the spectrum. In this spectroscopy, there is some shift you have seen in your previous year question paper. I know that is what bathochromic shift you have seen, right? Bathochromic shift, or we will say it as red shift. What is red shift? And hypsochromic shift you have seen. The questions will be keep on asking every year question paper. It will be there bathochromic shift or red shift, hypsochromic shift or blue shift. Okay, we will see what is red shift and what is blue shift. We are taking an alpha beta unsaturated ketone. Okay, what is this alpha beta unsaturated ketone? Alpha and beta position unsaturated ketone. What is the basic value of lambda max for this? Lambda max will be 214 nanometer, right? This is the basic value of this alpha beta unsaturated ketone. I am substituting, I am extending a double bond at a gamma position. What will happen to this? Lambda max value will increase. What will be the lambda max value? Basic value we will take as basic value 240 nanometer. There is an extended conjugation will be there, right? This conjugation has extended here. So how much it will add to extended conjugation? Will add 30 to this, and gamma substituent is there. Gamma substituent, how much it will add? 18, right? This already you have studied. That's why I am writing the values only. Okay, the exocyclic double bond, that will add a value of 5. So totally how much you will be getting? 214 plus 30 plus 80 plus 5, 267 you are getting, right? 267 nanometer you are getting, right? What has done? Actually we have done the extended conjugation. If the conjugation is increases, this 214 value, 214 nanometer was the basic value, has increased to 267 nanometer. Now what has happened? This is called red shift. What is happened? This was light was in the UV visible region. This giving the signal at UV visible region has shifted to IR range. So from this to IR range it has shifted. This is what bathochromic shift or red shift. This is what we will say lambda max increases. Lambda max, higher wavelength shift it is. What it is? Higher wavelength, higher lambda max value. Okay, this is what red shift. We will see a common example, then you will understand how the bathochromic shift will be. I am taking anilium chloride and I am treating with NaOH. What will happen to this anilium chloride? It will convert to aniline. Okay, so if you see, this will give a lambda max value of anilium chloride is 202 nanometer. Lambda max value of aniline chloride is 202 nanometer. If you see the lambda max value of aniline, it will be 280 nanometer. How this 280 nanometer? Higher wavelength shift. This is what red shift or bathochromic shift we will say. How it has happened? Here aniline is having a nitrogen lone pair of electron will be there. That will induce a conjugation. This conjugation always will give you your lambda max value will be higher. That is what UV visible region to it will be shift to the IR region. Next is blue shift or hypsochromic shift. What is the blue shift? Now this, if you see the aniline can be converted to anilium chloride. So lower wavelength it is converting. That is what blue shift or hypsochromic shift. How it will be converting? If you are taking aniline, I am taking aniline, okay. Aniline is having lone pair of electron. I am treating with the HCl. What will happen? Hydrogen chloride I am treating. Here lone pair of electron was there. This will convert to anilium chloride, right? This lone pair of electron has gone. It will become NH3 plus Cl, right? This is the anilium chloride. And here lambda max value is equal to 280 nanometer. And here it is lambda max is equal to 202 nanometer. This is what in electronic spectroscopy, this is what red shift and blue shift or bathochromic shift or hypsochromic shift. Okay, here what will happen? UV visible region to IR region, your wavelength is shifting. Okay, this is a very important question, keep in mind. Okay, so next I am saying hypochromic shift and hyperchromic shift. This is what based on intensity. Okay, Blue shift and red shift is based on wavelength. Here it is an intensity shift. Then hyperchromic means it will be shifting to the higher intensity region, and hypochromic means it will be shifting to a lower intensity region. We will see with an example. If you plot a graph, lambda max against intensity, so listen, if you see I am plotting a graph against lambda max against intensity, then I am getting two graphs of one for pyridine and one for 2-methyl pyridine. If you see a pyridine, it will be having a lambda max value of 2750, and if it is a 2-methyl pyridine, this is a methyl group has substituted here. We will say that oxochrome. One oxochrome has substituted. Then what will happen? This intensity of absorption has increased. That is what we will call as hyperchromic shift. Then what is hypochromic shift? 2-methyl pyridine to pyridine. This is what the ulta is hypochromic shift, and 2750 to lambda max 350 is hyperchromic shift. Higher intensity shift is hyperchromic shift and lower intensity shift is hypochromic shift. Next question, repeated question is magic numbers. You have seen in nuclear shell model, it has explained by nuclear shell model magic numbers. What is this magic numbers? There is always having a tendency to have even number of protons and neutrons in a nucleus. If you see an atom, it is like just like a pairing of electrons. The same way in a nucleus, nucleons will be paired, okay? And some numbers are there. The nucleus with 2, 8, 20, 50, 82 and 126. Especially these numbers with this number of protons and neutrons is having a nucleus. That nucleus will be highly stable. What is this? Completely filled shells, like just like an electron in an atom. This is we will refer as a completely filled shells. The nucleus with this number of neutrons and protons will be having extraordinary stability. This is what magic numbers we will see. We will see the examples. If you see helium atom, right, how many number of protons are there? 2 protons and 2 neutrons, right? This is magic number. And if you see an example of oxygen, 8 or 16, how many number of protons and neutrons? 8 protons and 8 neutrons, right? 8 is a magic number. If you take calcium, so how many number of protons? 20 protons and 20 neutrons are there. This is what magic numbers. Okay, this question was there in the previous year question papers. It is important and very easy also. Yesterday in nuclear chemistry I forgot this topic. Okay. Next question is find out the oxidation state of, how to find out the oxidation state of carbon in C3O2 and bromine in Br3O8. First what you have to do, you have to draw the structure. I am drawing the structure Br3, right? This is the structure of Br3O8, right? So what is the oxidation state of this corner bromine? It has attached to 3 oxygen atom. Each oxygen atom is having a -2 charge. So 3 is there. So totally +6 is the oxidation state of corner bromine, right? And here also if you see, it has attached to 3 oxygen atoms. So +6 will be the oxidation state of bromine, right? -2, -2, -2. Then it will be -6, that will be +6. And if you see the middle bromine atom, it has attached to 2 oxygen atoms, so it will be +4, right? Correct? So what you have to do, you have to sum up all this oxidation state and divided by 3. Then you will be getting the oxidation state of bromine. Okay. So what you got? 6 plus 4 plus 6. How much you will be getting? 16. 16. So single bromine atom, if you have to find out, you have to bromine oxidation state, if you have to find out, means you have to 16 divided by 3 you have to do. Clear? This is the way you have to find out the oxidation state of. Next we will see C3O2. In corner only oxygen atom. So this carbon is not attached to any of the hetero atoms, right? It is attached to the carbon only. So oxidation state here it is, you will consider as 0, and it is attached to -2 oxygen atom. So here it is +2, right? Here it is minus 2, it has corner carbon has attached, so here it is plus 2. Then how to find out the oxidation state? 0 plus 2 you have to take, then you will be getting 4. For a single carbon, if you have to find out, you have to divide by 4 by 3. You will be getting 1.3. Oxidation state is plus 1.3. Okay, this is the way you have to find out the oxidation state of a compound if you are getting like this compounds. Okay, one very simple question about organic chemistry. Ethanol and glycerol compared to ethanol, glycol and glycerol. In this, glycerol is more viscous. Why it is more viscous? If you see the structure of ethanol, CH3 CH2 OH, right? This is ethanol. Why this is more viscous than this ethanol? That is the question. Why it is more viscous? If you see 3 hydroxyl group, OH group, 3 OH groups are present and hydrogen bonding will be strong, right? Oxygen, hydrogen bonding, here it will be 3 hydrogen bonding is a strong polar bond, right? So negative oxygen is partially, it is negatively charged and hydrogen is positively charged. This is what hydrogen bond. So if you see here in glycerol, there is 3 hydrogen bonds are present, but in the case of ethanol, it is only single hydrogen bond. 1 hydroxyl group only is there, here 3 is there. That is the reason why it is more viscous. And these all are the simple questions. And another question is, water is liquid and hydrogen sulfide is gas. Water is a liquid and hydrogen sulfide is gas. Why? Here also the same way only. If you see, not only hydrogen bonding is responsible. If you see oxygen, electronegativity of oxygen is 3.4. Okay. If you take the electronegativity difference, hydrogen and oxygen, it will be electronegativity difference will be electronegativity difference. If you take, it will come 1.4. Okay, but in hydrogen sulfide, sulfur is not that electronegative compared to oxygen. Sulfur is less electronegative. That is why hydrogen sulfide is gas and water is liquid. Okay, clear? Next question is, surface tension of ethanol is greater than, which one is greater? Ethanol. Surface tension of ethanol is greater than dimethyl ether. Okay, but both is having the same molecular mass. Dimethyl ether and ethanol is having the same molecular mass, but the surface tension is greater for ethanol. What is the structure of ethanol? CH3 CH2OH. This is ethanol, right? What is dimethyl ether now? CH3O CH3, right? Molecular mass is same, right? C2H6O, right? C2H6O. This is the molecular mass C2H6O, but both is having different surface tension. This is having more surface tension. Why? What is the reason? See, if surface tension is depends upon that is intermolecular forces, right? If you see here it is an OH group, hydrogen bonding is there is a strong polar bond. Why it is strong polar bond? Here delta minus and here it is a positive charge. Oxygen is having a strong negative charge and hydrogen is having a strong positive charge, right? This is the reason why this is having a higher surface tension than dimethyl ether. There is no hydrogen bonding present, there is no polar bonds are present. This is the reason. They will be keep on asking this type of simple questions they have included in this question paper. What will happen? This is all general questions. Suddenly we will not think about it. These questions will give you the maximum scores. Okay, this is the question. So all the MSc level question we know, but this is the smallest question. We will not bother also, we will not think in a tension also, that this questions will give you the maximum score, so that you can reach the cutoff, you can cross your cutoff. Okay, since the question is related to surface tension, I am talking about surface tension also now. What is surface tension? Surface tension is a cohesive force, right? That is the tendency of liquid to reduce its surface area to a minimum. That is what surface tension. Like surface tension is a property of a liquid by virtue of it is trying to reduce its surface area, right? What is the SI unit of surface tension? How to find out the surface tension? Surface tension is equal to force by length, we will say, right? What is the dimensional formula of force? ml t raised to minus 2. So what is the length dimension formula? L, right? So it will be m t raised to minus 2, right? This is the dimensional formula of surface tension. What is the unit of surface tension? Newton per meter is the unit, or else m raised to minus 1 is the unit of surface tension, right? These all things we have studied. I am just recollecting because you have a problems related to surface tension in physical chemistry. Okay, so Newton per meter is the surface tension Unit of SI unit of surface tension is Nm raised to minus 1. Dimensional formula of surface tension is Mt raised to minus 2. From force by length we are calculating Mlt raised to minus 2. How we are getting force is equal to mass into acceleration. M into acceleration. From this formula only we are getting Mlt raised to minus 2 and divide by length I am taking Mt raised to minus 2. We are getting the dimensional formula of surface tension, or else surface tension, another formula we can use. Surface tension, how to find out surface tension? Work done by change in area. Okay, so work done by change in area or joule per meter square. What is the work done? Work done is joule and change in area. Area will be meter square, right? Meter square. So we are taking in above of this line. Then what will happen? Joule per meter square. This also the formula to find out the surface tension. This both the force by length also surface tension. Work done by change in area also joule per meter square is surface tension. Our question is what different types of surface tension? Surface tension in blowing a soap bubble. Two liquid small drops combined together, fusion is happening, and if it is a bigger drop it is splitting into smaller drops. What all are the formulas to find out this surface tension? Very important. Your question paper you can find out the problem related to this question. I will write all the formulas. You have to by heart each surface tension, that formula at least. Okay, work done in blowing a liquid drop. If you are blowing a liquid drop, the radius of the liquid drop will change from R1 to R2, right? Work done in blowing a liquid drop means if you are blowing a liquid drop, this radius will be changing, right? R1 to R2. So work done, how to calculate work done? W is equal to S into surface tension into 4 pi into R2 square minus R1 square. This is the formula you have to use if it is a blowing a liquid drop. Then next is work done in blowing a soap bubble. So the R1 to R2, this also work done in blowing a soap bubble. If you are blowing a soap bubble, radius will be changing. So work done will be finding out W is equal to S into 8 pi you have to take. 2 into S you have to take, and R2 square minus R1 square. This is the equation you have to use work done in blowing a soap bubble. Now work done in a bigger droplet is splitting into smaller droplets. Work done in splitting a bigger droplet into smaller droplet, then the radius small r will be changing to capital R. Okay, capital R into n raised to minus 1 by 3 we have to take. I am just telling the equation only, you have to by heart this equation. Okay, at least for the time being. W is equal to work done is equal to surface tension into 4 pi capital R square into n raised to 1 by 3 minus 1. Now we will see work done in splitting a work done in combining smaller droplets into bigger one. Okay, that I am writing here. Okay, work done by the fusion. Work done for the fusion, smaller droplets is combining together to form a bigger drop. Surface tension into 4 pi square into n 4 pi square n into 1 minus n raised to 1 by 3. This all are the surface tension. To find out the surface tension equation, which problem they are asking, accordingly you have to select the formula. Question is, calculate the work done in blowing a soap bubble of a radius 10 centimeter. Surface tension is equal to 3 into 10 raised to minus 3. This is the surface tension and radius is 10 centimeter. Which formula you will be using? Calculate, find the work done in blowing the soap bubble they were asking. Work done is the question mark. Which formula we are using? Work done is equal to S into 8 pi R square, right? Surface tension they have given 3 into 10 raised to minus 3 into 8 is there, pi value you know 3.14, and 10 centimeter is the radius they have given, so 10 square. This value you have to find out. This is the way on what they were asking the question. Based on that only you have to find out the solution. Okay, clear? So if you are answering this simple question, you will be increasing your possibility to reach the cutoff. You can cross the cutoff. So hope you understand well. Thank you for watching. To be continued.